Florida State has found its next linebacker, this time through the transfer portal coming from Nebraska, with Thompson joining the Seminoles after a recent visit with Mike Norvell and the coaching staff. Of course, as we know, Tony White being the previous Nebraska defensive coordinator. This one doesn't come too much of a surprise after knowing that Thompson has practically followed Tony White wherever he's gone to throughout his playing career, always going back to the days of Syracuse as well. Thompson, what does he bring to Florida State's defense? Well, he brings a lot of experience. He'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining. Going through some of his stats in the 2024 season, he started just one game. He recorded 27 tackles, one fumble recovery, and 2 pass deflections in the 2024 season. He ranked on PFF's grade at a 76.9, which is third best on Nebraska's defense. This would have actually been the highest grade on Florida State's linebacker room by a pretty wide margin as well. As I had mentioned, started his career at Syracuse as a 3-star prospect in 2020. His total stats in Syracuse was 36 games and 21 starts. He totaled 172 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. His career best year was actually all the way back in 2021. Like I'm saying earlier, like I had mentioned, he is a veteran guy. He's had a ton of experience at the college level, but in 2021, he had his best season with 79 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. He missed most of 2022 with an injury. And, this is an interesting grab because Florida State most certainly is wanting to beef up that linebacker room. It's an important message for Florida State to build up after you lost there, Randy Shannon as your coach. And, there's a whole kind of conversation there that we've had on this YouTube channel about why Florida State had to move on there. But Florida State having to pursue a lot into the transfer portal. And it's important because you just got back Omar Graham Jr., which I thought was a big win for the Seminoles. He entered the transfer portal just for a small stint, tested the waters, it seemed like. But, Omar Graham Jr. started a lot of those games in the latter half of the 2024 season. And then when you have Thompson coming in, he just brings another long amount of experience that he brings to the stable there that Florida State needs in that second level whenever you're going to be presenting a potential, it's going to be expected from Tony White, a 3-3-5 defense. And, we'll see if this ends up being, a starting spot for him or not. We'll see. It's all going to depend on what Florida State ends up doing here in the transfer portal, and just depends too on some of the guys coming back next season. Just going to what Florida State will have in this linebacker room right now with the addition of Thompson, like I had mentioned, Omar Graham Jr., Sean Murphy, who we didn't really get to see much of in 2024. We saw him, I think, in the last 2 games of the year. As we know, former Alabama transfer linebacker. You got Blake Nicholson as well, who has started to make some strides here and there. And then Justin Cryer, who I think was probably one of your most kind of surprising guys to be the one to really show a lot of love after games, because he was the only one that you kind of found positives coming after Florida State's awful performances on Saturdays. But Justin Cryer, as we know, got injured late in the season too. Hopefully that recovery is going well there, because you would like to see him get back and get into his groove whenever Florida State kicks off the season in 2025. You got Jaden Parrish and Tamir Hickman Collins. Then you got 3-star linebacker Ethan Pritchard too, that signed on the early signing period. Florida State is starting to land some guys here in the transfer portal. This is only the 3rd transfer that has picked the Seminoles. As we do know, been covered heavily on here, is Thomas Castellanos. He committed to Florida State just a couple of days ago. And then now tight end Marquiston Douglas makes a reunion with the Florida State Seminoles biscuit, which Florida State needed there. And that tight end room to be a blocking machine. And that's exactly what Marquiston Douglas is. But I think this is a good pickup for the Seminoles. Looking at what Nebraska fans and a lot of the insiders over there are saying, there's some ups and then there's some downs, there's some inconsistencies, but you like a guy that already knows the defense. right under Tony White. And the experience factor is big for this room where it needs it quite a bit, just because after you go below guys like Omar Graham Jr., maybe Blake Nicholson and Justin Cryer, you're kind of thin there on the experience of the collegiate level. And this guy immediately comes in and is the number one guy that has the most experience at the college level. So thanks for watching. Hit the like button down below. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and I appreciate you for watching.